for this. You guys remember me from last week? I was observing you when you were having your roundtable discussion about the different ideas before you started reading The Outsiders. No. I was just here, you might not know this name. I'm Miss Campbell. I teach at the high school. I teach 9th, 10th, 12th speech class. You will probably have me at some point in your high school career.
Did you have Buddy Graham?
Yes, I did last year. Are you related to him?
Yeah.
How did I not?
Yeah. No, he lives in my neighborhood.
So you're not related. Yes, Buddy is not in my class this year. So, Ms. Munson and I were talking about the fact that some people have issues writing in complete sentences. That sometimes we're writing in sentence fragments in our homework, which I'll tell you guys a secret, I have high schoolers that do that too. So this is not only you guys that are having that issue. This is something that I talk to my 9th graders and my 10th graders about, and even have to remind my seniors about sometimes. So this is not like, you guys are bad. It's just kind of a reminder, a refresher of what a complete sentence is and how to make sure you're writing in complete sentences. But we're going to start out, since you know you're going to be writing an email, I wanted to show you a real email exchange between me and a 10th grader that I have in my speech class. Okay, so just take a moment if you didn't already, and so this is the initial email he sent me, this is my response, this is the email he sent me after that. Take a moment and read it, and think about what is wrong with this picture. And there's more than one thing wrong with this picture. Based on what you know about grammar, good writing, polite email etiquette, what do you think is wrong? And I'm sorry I don't know names, I'm going to have to be rude and point. Yes?
I don't think that Minecraft would be his only talent.
Okay, so you think he's maybe underestimating himself. Okay, yes ma'am? What is not capitalized? What do we always start a complete sentence with? A capital letter, especially when you're emailing a teacher, right? If you're just shooting a text to your friend, maybe you don't need to worry about capitals, but when you're emailing a teacher, you should be using your best writing skills, right? What else?
Nothing is capital in his replies.
Nothing is capitalized, you're right. And what else should be capitalized besides the beginnings of his sentences?
Xbox.
Xbox should be, what else?
Minecraft.
Minecraft, because it's the name of a video game. Yes?
Minecraft is not 2 words.
It's not? Oh, I didn't know that. I don't play Minecraft.
I do.
So he also spelled it wrong. Thank you. What else? What?
Since should be capitalized.
The sentence should be capitalized?
Since.
Oh, since should be capitalized. Yep. So his beginnings of his sentences aren't capitalized. Is he writing in complete sentences? No. Where do you see a sentence that's a fragment?
The second sentence.
Since that is my only talent. That's not a complete sentence. He's writing that to an English teacher. Can you believe it?
On the bottom he says, okay, once I get home, that's like a weird sentence.
That's not a complete thought, right? And you need a complete thought to have a complete sentence. Other issues? Yep.
The video would be PG.
He means PG, but why is it not clear what he means?
It's not capital.
And there should be periods between P and G because it's an abbreviation for what? Parental guidance, right? Yep, and he doesn't have a period here. Look at my email compared to his. What does my email have that his doesn't? Yes, ma'am?
The capital letters and commas.
So better grammar. Hopefully I'm using good grammar. I'm an English teacher, right?
And you signed your name at the end of yours.
I signed my name at the end of mine. That's a really important part of a formal email. Yes, ma'am?
You didn't say dear.
There's no introduction. He just launches right into it, right? That's not very polite. You don't just walk up to someone and start talking the first time you see them. You say, hey, how's it going today, right?
Is this person real?
This person is real. That's why I blanked out his name. I know.
What
He
grade is he
exists. He's in 10th grade. He should know better. And he had me for English last year. That's the worst part. He's in my speech class now. Okay, so lots of issues. Is there anything he did right in his email?
He wrote words.
He wrote words. That's good.
He put periods at the end of.
He has some punctuation going on. That's a good thing. What else?
He capitalized I.
He capitalized I. That's a good thing too. Anything else?
He spelled most words right.
Yup, the spelling's not bad. What about in terms of the parts of the email? Is there anything he did do right in terms of the parts of an email, from what you know? No? The one thing he did do right for the parts of an email is that he gave his email a subject line that told me what he was asking about, what he was going to be talking about in the email. That's getting an email with a blank subject line is a mystery. You don't know if you should bother to open it or not because you have no idea what it's about. So that he did right, okay? But a lot of things were wrong with this. So, what I want to talk to you guys about today, we're going to have a few different learning targets that we're going for here. So, you guys have seen these I can statements before, right? Yeah? I can identify the subject and predicate of a sentence. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, but it has to do with whether a sentence is a complete sentence or a fragment. It's a way to know if you're writing complete sentences. I can distinguish between complete sentences and sentence fragments. I can correct sentence fragments and make them into complete sentences. And, that should say I can write a formal email. That last one is wrong. So, by the end of this lesson, hopefully you're more clear on what a complete sentence is and how to fix a fragment if it is not a complete sentence, and how to write a nice formal email to a teacher, and you really want to stay on a teacher's good side because they give you your grade, right? Or to a coach, or to a boss, or to someone that you want to impress. It's important to be able to write a good formal email in a polite way and using correct grammar. Okay? So, the first thing we need to talk about is parts of a sentence, because you won't necessarily have an easy time figuring out if a sentence is a complete sentence or a sentence fragment unless you know some basic kind of building blocks that make up a sentence. Okay? So this is yours. You can write your name on it. I may ask if a few people would be willing to give me theirs at the end because I'm actually teaching you guys for a class I'm taking at St. Catherine University. So it would be nice to have a few of these to show to people in my class.
You can have mine.
Oh, thank you. Make sure you do a really good job, okay?
Even if it's not as good as I can do.
Do the best you can do.
Okay.
Control of that. Did everybody get one? What? You don't have one? Oh, there you go. Any extras? Sometimes I'm not very good at counting. Good? All right. So, let's talk first about the parts of a complete sentence, okay? And then you're going to practice identifying these parts. A complete sentence always has at least two components, the subject, and sometimes there's more than one. That's why I put an S in parentheses, and the predicate. So let's talk about what those two pieces are so that we can figure out if a sentence has them or not. A subject names the person, place, thing, or idea spoken about in the rest of the sentence. It's a noun. You guys know what a noun is, right? A subject is always a noun, but here's the tricky part. A noun is not always the subject. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to pick out the noun in the sentence that is the subject if there is a subject. Because if you just pick a random noun in the sentence, sometimes it's not the subject, and then you'll get it wrong. Okay? The predicate is the other piece. The verb or verbs associated with the subject or subjects says something about the subject. And here's a hint. Verbs are not always actions. Someone give me an example of an action verb.
Running.
Run, yep.
Bang.
Bang? Okay, I think that's more like onomatopoeia usually. Like bang, it's like a sound effect, right? Action verb? Give me an action verb. You guys know, come on, what do you do as actions?
Running.
Running,
Bouncing.
bouncing,
Drink.
drinking,
Jumping.
jumping,
Swimming.
swimming. Okay, those are really obvious verbs, right? They're things you do. The tricky thing about verbs is sometimes they're forms of to be. Sometimes they're more about existence than about an action. So like was, were, am, will be, those are also verbs. They're just forms of to be instead of obvious things like screaming, crying, jumping, playing. Okay? So, let me show you a couple examples and then we're going to try it on our own. Coyotes were howling in the distance. Okay? Coyotes is the subject. That's the main thing that the sentence is about. What are they doing? They were howling. Okay, so that's the predicate. Now, sometimes you have extra information in a sentence, and that's fine. That's good to have extra information, but we're not really worried about that part right now. Okay? The telephone in the lobby rang. Telephone is the subject. That's what the sentence is about. What is it doing? It's ringing, right? Now notice, are the subject and the predicate always together?
No.
No, there's extra information in between them this time, okay? So don't get tricked by that. Sometimes the subject and the predicate are separate. So let's talk about how to find the subject and predicate. The best way to find the subject of a predicate is actually of a sentence is to find the predicate first. Find the verb or verbs. What is happening in the sentence, or maybe it's just a form of to be, a form of being, and then ask yourself who or what is associated with the predicate. So let me show you. The price of those shoes seemed too high to us. The verb is seemed, which is actually a form of to be. It's not really an action, it's more of just existence. But then you can say, what seemed? Price seemed, right? And then to double check yourself, put them together. Price seemed, do those go together? Makes sense. The price seemed too high? Those go together, right? So then you know that you got it right, okay? So I want you guys to try with me. My little brother sings all the time. What's happening in the sentence? What's the verb or verbs in the sentence?
They're singing.
They're singing, okay? So you have this sentence on your paper, right here in the middle. I want you to label sings. Uh-oh, this isn't turned on.
It should be.
Maybe my smart tools aren't turned on. Okay, you guys are just going to have to be really good listeners, okay? So pretend that my marker's working. You underline sing, write a P above it for a predicate. Now, who or what sings? What's the subject of the sentence?
Brother.
Brother. I like that you didn't say little brother. Little is just describing brother. Brother is the noun, right? Brother sings. So underline brother, write an S for subject.